Hey everyone, it's definitely my pleasure. Finally got my hands on the Microsoft Go 3 tablet. Let's go ahead and break it open and take a look. Just before I go ahead with the initial boot up of the tablet itself, let's go ahead and take a look at what else is actually in the box here. Just some simple little things over here, just basically a little instruction manual. Very, very thin, right over here. And let's look at what else they got here. Maybe some stickers, who knows. This looks like no little safety whatnot. Let's go ahead and take a little quick look here at this particular manual, just explain to you all the buttons and whatnot. Other little things here, possibly in other languages as well, and of course how to use Windows Hello, a little feature that I'm not particularly a big fan of, but it's definitely available and an option for you if you'd like to use it. And of course down here is your charger for your tablet itself. Let's go ahead and take this out. You can see here, has a nice little scent on it. Basically, I believe this is 65 watt, or possibly just a little bit less. There are definitely other variations of these chargers. This is actually 24. Wow, okay. So there's definitely like a 65 watt, I believe, and a 127, depending on which tablet you'll be using. Obviously, the higher end tablets will require some more power. So this is basically your AC adapter right over here with the unique proprietary Microsoft connection. And of course, lo and behold, is your Surface Go 3 tablet right over here. Sorry about the reflective screen. Obviously, the screen's pretty reflective in itself. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back as well too. There, of course, is your Microsoft logo for the Surface tablet. And I'm holding this upside down, but whatever. There's, of course, is your rear-facing camera. And up here, once I flip it over, there, of course, is your front-facing camera as well. I believe that's a camera for Windows Hello, and, of course, some other options. I believe this is one speaker here. There's another speaker over here as well, too. Definitely familiar with that on the Go 2, and also my Pro as well. And on the bottom, looks like on this side there's actually nothing. And on this side here, we do have a USB Type-C port, your headphone jack. Sorry if that's a little blurry. I try to make that a little more clear for you. And of course, there's your proprietary connection for power. Now let's go ahead and take a look at one more thing here. This is something that's always evaded me, but just definitely want to introduce it to you, and it looks like it's available here as well too. Is of course your little micro SD slot here if you want to go ahead and just basically toss in a little card in there for additional space if you'd like. So let's go ahead and get this device booted up and take a look. One thing about this tablet is obviously the screen is quite reflective, so sorry if trying to avoid as much light in this room from bouncing off the screen, but definitely shouldn't be a problem once we get it on. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and initially boot it up. Obviously there's your Microsoft logo. And should be booting up into Windows 11, which comes by default with the Surface Go 3. All right, looks like here's our initial boot up of this tablet. Just going to go ahead and just click on yes. Go ahead and select the language you want to start using. And of course, here it's going to probably start asking you some other little details such as a keyboard. Obviously, you're going to go ahead and click on yes here once you select your correct country and region. Selecting your keyboard here as well. It also asks you if you want to select an additional keyboard layout. Go ahead and click on skip. Of course, you want to go ahead and add an additional one here, and you do have the option to go ahead and add it later. Here's of course where it's going to actually ask you to go ahead and connect to your Wi-Fi connection, so you can go ahead and actually create a Microsoft account. Windows 11 Home actually requires you to create a Microsoft account as opposed to Pro, which does give you the option over here to bypass this and actually just use a local account. There's a little trick, and I'll definitely have a link in the description below to do that if you actually prefer to use a local account and prefer not to actually create a Microsoft account here. That little trick will allow you to just go ahead and bypass this. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that real quick and jump to the next screen. And here we are, jump into the next screen. Now we got basically the EULA over here. I remember the Windows 10 setup actually had a funny little thing. It actually narrated to you that if you don't accept it, you know, no Windows. It always makes me laugh. Let's go ahead and click on accept. Seemed like the little sense of humor thing kind of wasn't really included in Windows 11 here. Maybe it was. And of course, here we are. It's going to ask us to go ahead and create a username. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that once the keyboard comes up. Now I did actually have this issue with the Surface Go 2 as well, where basically the on-screen keyboard actually did not even come up here. So this is actually a little unusual here, unfortunately. In Windows 10 setup, actually, it will actually take a moment for the keyboard to actually come up, but here it's not even coming up almost at all. Oh, there we go. Looks like it just actually took a moment. Same thing with the Windows 10 setup. It take a little bit longer though, so something to keep in mind in case you start freaking out that, hey, where's my on-screen keyboard? So I'm just going to go ahead and just enter an account here. Didn't actually enter anything. There we go. Ask us for a password. Just by default, I'm not going to create one at this time. And it's probably going to ask us a couple of little privacy things. Just going to go ahead and turn off all these scary little things here. And just hit accept. So here we are, Windows 11 set up so far with a local account. So I'm just going to go ahead and skim through this. It's probably just going to take a few moments. So the initial setup is now done, and we actually are on the start screen over here. So let me just take a look at some things here. Looks like the on-screen keyboard does come up automatically. I did actually have an issue on the Go 2 when I updated to Windows 11. And looks like the battery here is at 30% and dropping. So I'll probably have to go ahead and plug this in. You definitely do have the option to go ahead and plug into Wi-Fi if you didn't do that earlier. Just going to go ahead and increase the brightness over here just before I plug this in. Take a quick look here. Seems like all the default icons that do show up with the Windows 11 new device, new installation, new device, and whatnot are actually still pending to show up just because I need to connect to Wi-Fi. And once I connect, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of updates to actually take care of. And of course, here's the Surface Go app over here. That's telling us welcome to your Surface Go. You can go ahead and click on here to go ahead and go through the little part of the introduction there, and of course give you all the full details of your Go tablet as well. Just going to go ahead and bring up Task. Oh yeah, of course, Task Manager is, that's one little thing that I'm not a big fan of Windows 11 so far, but it is what it is at this time. Just bringing up Task Manager, and just taking a look at the CPU memory. This is the 4GB model. I'm just taking a look at that here in Task Manager as well too. It looks like it's actually trying to preserve a little bit of power, underclocking the CPU a little bit. So let's go ahead and get some updates installed and do a little bit of a performance review as well too. I've gone ahead and installed all the updates available at this time, and it was actually a timely process. As a matter of fact, after 1 or 2 reboots and beginning to install some additional software such as Office, Firefox, and basically some other stuff, I immediately just noticed that that little icon appeared on the bottom of the screen, just letting you know that another update has downloaded itself and it's now requesting an update, or just another notification in general about an update itself. So I went ahead and took care of those. It actually did take a while. So if this is your tablet and you just unbox it and get it going, go ahead and download all those updates, or you'll just basically be running into it from time to time randomly over the next couple of days or even weeks even. One other little thing I did actually notice is that, and I didn't really know that this actually existed in Windows 11, this tablet, just like the predecessor, the Surface Go 2, does have a version of S mode. So back then it actually had Windows 10 S mode, which basically is not really a stripped down version of Windows, but it does not allow you to install applications that are just randomly downloaded off the internet, such as the browser over here, Firefox. Everything has to come from the Microsoft Store. And there's definitely a way out of it, though unfortunately you do have to log in with a Microsoft account, which can be a little bit annoying. But lo and behold, once that little app is downloaded, you are out of S mode. So this is a version of Windows 11 that also has S mode as well too. So I had to go ahead and log in and take care of that so I can go ahead and remove it. So now we definitely do have regular Windows 11 home, and you can see here I did go ahead and install a Firefox browser over here. The performance is actually very similar to the Go 2. As a matter of fact, I'm just a little bit confused, to be honest, why there was actually a new release of this particular tablet. Now definitely there is a newer processor here, the Intel Go processor, and I'll go ahead and bring that up here in the task manager. You can actually see. And this is actually sorry if this is actually a little bit fuzzy, there we go. You'll see this is actually a different CPU than it's actually built into the Surface Go 2, which I'm pretty sure you'll probably assume is a little bit faster. Honestly, I really haven't noticed too much of a performance increase. With all the connections this device actually has, the headphone jack, a USB 3 Type-C, the same connection on the bottom, and also the power connection on the side, and the little micro SD option on the back. It's almost as if it's basically a Surface Go 2. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at the back of the tablet itself, you immediately see that it's actually the same model that is actually on the Go 2 that I actually reviewed some months before. So just a little bit confused why this particular a newer version of the Go 2, the Go tablet has been released, but you know, it is what it is, basically marketing. It also does come with Windows 11, so I mean, basically it does actually take care of the job for you, and of course you have the latest operating system, whether you want it or not. Unfortunately, I have not seen a Surface Go 3 be offered with a Windows 10 option, though. Wondering if there's actually an option to roll back. But let's go ahead and just take a look at some options here. I'll just go ahead and bring up Edge as well too. And we can just go ahead and navigate to YouTube here. And you see it's actually working pretty fast. Let me go ahead and bring up Firefox as well too. And you'll see, obviously since this is only the 4 GB model, you do see it struggling just a little bit when multiple browsers are actually open, or multiple pieces of software are actually open. So looks like we just went ahead and went to YouTube here as well too, and it's just taking a moment to load up, but no big deal. Both browsers are actually still running. I'm gonna go ahead and then bring them both side by side. Those actually stutter a little bit to actually go ahead and take care of that task for you, but it definitely does get there. Remember, this is basically a little companion kind of version tablet, not particularly a device that's really meant to be used just for critical stuff, maybe to check your email, go on the internet, check out Amazon, check out tech news. Personally, myself, I've actually been using a tablet like this. If I were to actually continue using it, I'd probably just be checking out tech news, going on websites, news websites, and then maybe occasionally showing off some YouTube videos to my nephews or some other family members. I did go ahead and install Office, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring that up here as well too. And we go ahead and just take a look and see how that performs. Not so bad. Obviously, just asking is the first time it's asking me to go ahead and accept license agreements, etc., etc. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Microsoft Word here, immediately already bringing up the keyboard. And I'll go ahead and just type in one of the most popular phrases here when it comes to tech for the most part. So obviously this seems to be working pretty well. Let's see how much memory we actually have working at this time. It's probably going to be somewhere over the 60% mark. And anything over 70 or 80% mark immediately begins to just start slowing down because you got technically memory swapping going on. This is actually already at 90%, so definitely a higher number than I anticipated. So the performance on this is actually pretty decent. As I said, you don't really want to be doing too much task-intensive stuff on this because you only have a limited amount of memory. If you do get your hands on the 8 GB model, you definitely have much more leeway, but bear in mind what's going to be slowing you down is obviously this Pentium Go processor, which And it's kind of like the Atom processor these days from like the old netbook days, but definitely this processor is quite a bit better. And obviously just working with one browser, maybe two, you definitely do notice it's working pretty well and you can't really complain about that. One little thing I do notice a couple little stutters is when you actually bring this tablet out of sleep mode to some degree and you bring up a browser, it seems to just stutter a little bit when jumping right back to where you were. I would say maybe about a 3 or 4 second lag, and eventually whatever it was that I was doing now kicks back in. A little annoying for the most part. I have actually seen this happen on other Go tablets as well too, but again, you're not really using this for the intensive, work-intensive stuff, just for everyday stuff over here. Another little thing just to demonstrate here, since now I do have all the Windows 11 updates up to date now installed, one extra browser, and of course a pretty hefty Office 2019 installation. Looks like right now we only have about 30 gigabytes free. This is actually a little bit better than Windows 10, where I usually see around 23, 24, 25 gigabytes free from the actual 65 gig that this tablet actually originally comes with. Now don't forget, you do have that micro SD slot on the back that allows you to increase the space, so if there's any movies or music files or even programs you'd like to go ahead and install on it, if the drive is big enough, you probably can definitely go ahead and do that. But just bear in mind that SD slot card will probably not be pretty fast in terms of performance, so you don't really want to be installing programs that may actually take quite a bit longer to load up. In terms of battery power, I have actually seen a little bit of an improvement between this and the Go 2 tablet to some degree. Obviously, if you really want the best out of this, you can definitely go ahead and activate the battery saver mode, which does bring down the brightness, probably throttles down the CPU frequency quite a bit as well too, but you can further bring down the brightness as well too. I do notice less brighter, obviously. Very clearly the battery will last you much longer. So far on previous versions of the tablet, I have actually seen this thing work even with active browsing and other stuff such as video watching. Maybe it lasts a good 5, 6, or 7 hours. Obviously, if you have it on full brightness, that time definitely can vary. So just bear that in mind. Those factors definitely do count as well too. I'm not really sure, to be honest, if activating battery saver really makes much of a difference, but I do go ahead and turn it on, assuming it actually does, and I'm pretty sure some people can call me out and just say, well, there's definitely more factors than just brightness and CPU throttling that will kick in just to make the battery last longer, and I'm pretty sure you're right about that. So as always, I always like to enjoy playing a little video here. Just go ahead and toss on a little walk video that I did fairly recently regarding the gimbal review. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to the max, or actually not the 1440, let's bring it up to 1080 and see how it works. Seems like there's absolutely no issue playing this video. A little bit of a stutter when the screen's actually going from window to full screen mode. No big deal there. Let's go ahead and try to play it at 1440. I'm pretty sure it's going to probably give me a little bit of an issue. On the Go 2 tablet, it definitely did. And then we'll see how high we can actually take this with, obviously it's going to take a moment just to kick in. And bring it up to full screen. Well, it's actually doing pretty well. Last time I did actually see a little bit of stutter, and there you go. It is actually stuttering just a tad bit here as well too. I don't really believe that was actually internet lag. It was probably just giving me a little bit of a hiccup. So definitely doing 1440, 2K to 4K video playback on this thing, even off YouTube, is probably going to give you pretty mixed results, as you're definitely seeing over here. But mind you, this is watching anything like 4K video can be a little bit CPU intensive. And of course, this tablet does not have a dedicated video card, graphics card inside of it, just basically your Intel graphics and whatnot. But playing 1080, no big deal whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and actually see if I can actually play two of them. I'll go ahead and bring this up here, and I'll try to bring up yet again another video. As a matter of fact, I can probably just do it this way. I definitely do notice navigating is a little bit quicker. I have actually used a Go 2 tablet some weeks back, and I was messing around just to see actually how the performance is. You can definitely check out that review of the Go 2 tablet as well too. I will definitely put a link in the description below. And let me go ahead and just bring up as a matter of fact, I can go ahead and bring up that video right now. Well, actually, this is the Windows 11 installation, forgive me about that. And it looks like it's running pretty well. And of course, we still have the other video. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them side by side. Looks like I still have some of the other programs open, so maybe that might not have been a good idea. Windows 11 is a little bit more trickier with that side-by-side stuff. It doesn't really work too auto. I'm gonna go ahead and close Word. And it looks like we do have two 1080 videos playing side by side here and working pretty well, particularly this one. This one you can immediately notice that there's actually a stutter. So I would have to actually say, if you definitely do not have your hands on any version of the Go tablets, including the first one, first generation, which obviously the borders are a little bit smaller, so you get less screen size, but still definitely a good tablet right there. I would say not really a great reason to be upgrading at this time, as the differences are just the feature differences, and any new additional features aren't really that worthwhile. Screen size, everything is still the same and whatnot. Definitely a different case if you were comparing between the Surface Pro 7 and the 8. You obviously do notice that the borders have decreased a little bit, giving you more screen size. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that little unboxing and review of the Surface Go 3 tablet. And I actually do have it here playing another video here, just walking through the Times Square area for the most part. And obviously really good. Just wanted to actually do this little test here. Whoops, looks like I actually hit that little button. And then we go back into full screen mode. So what happens when you actually are in full screen mode and switch between both landscape and portrait? Not so bad, it takes about a second and a half or so, a little bit less even, to actually jump between the two modes there. So far, a very useful tablet. I've actually definitely recommended it, and even brought up to some family members, maybe even gotten my hands on one or two of them for my nephews to actually use. The keyboard attachment is obviously a recommendation that I can probably say if you're going to be giving this to a family member, and they're just more used to actually using a physical keyboard. I've never actually really been a big fan of tablets for the most part. I originally had an Android tablet for many years now, a Samsung one I believe, and I had very limited use of it for the most part. Probably only really using it on an airplane to watch movies and just go on the internet on occasion. Most of the time I actually end up lending it to the kids of some friends of mine. But this tablet has really given a reason to actually go ahead and really just do everyday stuff on the internet, as opposed to turning on the computer or opening up a laptop. So definitely much more versatile and more portable option here to just basically just do your everyday stuff, and I definitely do recommend it. However, if you are jumping from an older version of the Go tablet, such as the 1 or the Surface Go 2 that I reviewed before, I don't really recommend this as an upgrade, but just an alternative if you actually plan to buy an additional one. The difference between both of them, well, definitely go ahead and subscribe. I'll be doing a video comparing both the Go 2 and the Go 3 tablet and see what differences there are as well. So, if you definitely enjoyed this video, as I said, go ahead and shoot that like and subscribe button, and you'll definitely be helping out the channel quite a bit there. Oh, looks like I had a little bit of a glitch of going upside down. Thanks again for watching, everyone. As always, stay safe.